Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Lexi and I'm a super amateur baker who loves to read. So each week I post videos of me attempting to bake something I have never baked before while talking about a book that I love or have recently read. Today I am going to be attempting to bake maple sugar cookies, which I just happen to have all the ingredients for in my house, so I got to be lazy and not go to the store. And I'm going to be talking about Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Obviously, if you didn't watch my video on the Sorcerer's Stone or you haven't read the Chamber of Secrets, you might want to hold off on this video because even not having read Chamber of Secrets is probably going to confuse you, even with just the synopsis. So go ahead and watch my other video first or just catch up and read Sorcerer's Stone. I also want to put a disclaimer out there. I know this is my second Harry Potter video and I said it on the first video, but I do want to put a disclaimer out there that I do not agree with anything that J.K. Rowling has said anytime recently. I sincerely hope that she educates herself on the various subjects that she is not very educated on, but if she doesn't, I hope she knows that we are not supporting her and that her fans are super disappointed in her. I know that was a little aggressive, but I just want people out there to know that before you start commenting and talking to me about Harry Potter and how I shouldn't be using it on my channel, I just want people to know that as much as I love this series, I don't agree with her, and I think it's important to say. Okay, less dramatic. I do love this series. I think it's a great series. It's something that has been really close to my heart for a long time, and I'm excited to get into the second book with you guys and see what you think. I also think that these maple sugar cookies sound so good, super unhealthy, but that's the whole point of cookies, and I'm excited to get started, so let's go ahead. Alright, let's go ahead and get started with a synopsis of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. We meet back with Harry after his first year at Hogwarts, where he had a rough year with the whole Voldemort thing, but otherwise he made friends, he got to be on the Quidditch team, was pretty successful. But now he's back on Privet Drive with his aunt and uncle and his cousin Dudley. And if you remember from the first book, they are not nice people, and they do not like Harry. Although they're a little bit more scared of him because they don't know that he's not supposed to use magic outside of school. So he kind of just keeps to himself, and his whole family just lets him. But his aunt and uncle have an important dinner party the night of his birthday, and he ends up getting confined to his room so that he's not in the way. They don't want anybody to know about him. They're super embarrassed by him. Their worst nightmare is somebody finding out that they're related to a wizard. So they keep him in his room, and he promises to be quiet. But unfortunately, when he gets back to his room, he meets Dobby the house elf, one of everybody's favorite characters, who warns him not to go back to school, and basically ends up getting him in a lot of trouble with his aunt and uncle. But his friends come to the rescue, and he does end up getting to go back to school. And at school, the magic is harder. He's got a new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, Professor Lockhart, who is a total idiot and only thinks about himself. And soon, terrible things start happening, and the Chamber of Secrets is said to have been opened again. So Harry and his friends, Ron and Hermione, have to band together to figure out the mystery of the Chamber of Secrets and stop students from being petrified by the monster within so that the school doesn't close down and nobody dies. I did not melt my butter enough, so this mixing over here is challenging, but I think I've almost got it. I don't have my own electric mixer. I'm sure that will be a purchase in the future, but right now we live in an apartment with small counters, and I mean, I just started baking, so I feel like before I make a big purchase like that, I should make sure that I really enjoy it first. But other than that, this is mostly just regular cookies, which I have made 2 of so far, so I feel like I can do this, even though it's proving to be a little challenging, but I think my butter is finally wanting to play along, and I think we're going to be okay. So the great thing for me about Chamber of Secrets is that you get a little bit more of the wizarding world. I think that She Who Must Not Be Named does a really good job in the first book of setting up the wizarding world, but there's still so much to see. And this time Harry gets to meet Ron's parents and some more of his siblings, and he gets to see their house, which is the first like actual wizarding house that he gets to see. He gets to learn more about the friends that we've already met and the people that we already love. And of course there's always that mystery element and the danger element, which seems to be a theme with Hogwarts. So it's really fun, and of course you get more personalities from the characters. Like as the kids, Ron and Hermione and Harry and all of them start to grow, it's just kind of a lot of fun because they are starting to figure out who they are and what their personalities are, and you get to see all these different sides of them. And that really starts in this book, which is fun. I don't know if I've said this before, but I'm a huge fan of mystery novels. So one of the things that I really like about the Harry Potter series is that there always seems to be kind of a mystery to solve. It's not quite the same as other authors use. I mean, it's not Scooby-Doo or anything like that, but there's always something going on, and you don't get the full story of it until the end of the book. And I love that, and I think that some of the stories are just so well written. The Chamber of Secrets is a fun one. It's not my favorite. My favorite comes later in the series, but it's a fun mystery. I mean, you know that it exists. You know it has to, but you don't know what's causing it or who's behind it, and I think that that adds an element of fun. I'm having to flip back and forth with this recipe. The recipe and the instructions to make it are on my phone, and I just took like screenshots off the internet. So I'm having to flip back and forth. It's not a good strategy. I don't recommend it. Pinch of salt. I don't really know what a pinch is, so I'm gonna hope it's like when you pinch the skin. We'll find out, I guess. Okay, we're adding our dry ingredients here to the other ingredients, and we're done with our synopsis. So if you don't want the book spoiled for you, go ahead and skip ahead to towards the end of the video when there will be no more spoilers, and you can just find out how my cookies turned out. But if you have read the book or you don't really care about spoilers, then go ahead and stick with me for a while. We're going to get into a more detailed talk about the book while I attempt to finish mixing in my dry ingredients here, which I feel like is making my cookie dough not really very fluffy, but this is what I'm supposed to do, so I guess we'll see. Like I said, one of the things that I love about Chamber of Secrets is the mystery of the Chamber of Secrets, but we'll get into that in a minute. I was thinking about this the other day, and I think it's odd that Dobby is one of our favorite characters. I mean, I think almost anybody who has read the series or seen the movies agrees that Dobby is like one of the best. But I think it's odd because when I reread this book, I find Dobby to be a little obnoxious when you first meet him. I mean, he's trying to stop Harry from going back, and that's great. But at the same time, in the way that he's trying to stop Harry is by stopping his mail from getting through and, you know, stopping his friends from being able to reach him. And then he hits him in huge trouble with the Dursleys. Although some of that I feel like is Harry's fault because, first of all, just tell him you're not going back to school and then let him leave and go back to school. Second of all, if he runs out of your bedroom, don't chase him. That's exactly what he wants you to do. But Harry is not always the smartest character. Anyway, I still feel like Dobby kind of goes a little far, you know, originally. But it's kind of hard not to like him because when you find out later on that he's the Malfoys' house elf and he's obviously mistreated, I think that makes people kind of feel bad for him. And I know that Dobby wants to do the right thing. He's not trying to hurt Harry. He's not trying to be super obnoxious. He's just trying to do what he thinks is right. But I think Dobby also lacks a little bit of knowledge of the outside world, which is fair because he's been in the Malfoy service for forever. So he kind of takes extreme measures, like blocking the entrance to platform 9 3/4. Which is crazy to me. Like, why would you do that? But then also, can we talk about how 12-year-old boy Ron and Harry are in that moment? When they're like, well, there are grown adults on the other side of this, including Ron's parents, who will eventually come back through to get the car. Maybe we should just wait right here for them. But no, they're like, let's just fly the car all the way to Hogwarts, which is in Scotland, so like it's not, they're gonna have to fly to a different country. We all know that 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 the ride on the Hogwarts Express clearly takes all day. Why? Why would you think that's such a good idea? But like, I mean, no offense to boys, but come on, that's such a 12-year-old boy thing to do. All right, these are ready for the pan and to go in the oven. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make, there's a maple drizzle glaze that's supposed to go on top. So I'll make that while these are in the oven. All right, I'm gonna use my handy dandy method. Ow, my oven made my whole top just really warm already. I'm gonna use my handy dandy ice cream scoop plus small spoon that seems to be effective with cookies. I honestly believe that Harry and Ron probably should have gotten in more trouble than they did. But I think this is one of those moments where you see Professor McGonagall's compassion, because she knows, I mean, she's been teaching for long enough. She probably is thinking the same thing that I was just thinking. Like, what 12-year-old boys, you know? Like, of course, they flew a car instead of doing the logical thing and, like, sending Hedwig for help or waiting for Ron's parents to come back. All right, in we go here. So I think Professor McGonagall, she's really just like boys. But I think that they're really lucky that she believes that. Otherwise, they would have been in huge trouble, which is what Snape tried to do. Typical Snape. Also, I feel like we have to cover the idea that poor Jenny Weasley's first year at school is just like shat upon. Like, honestly, how awful of a first year could you get? She's already kind of made fun of because they're poor. And she's shy, so, you know, and she didn't make friends with a super famous wizard on the train ride. So, unlike her brothers, you know, she doesn't really have anybody, and she doesn't make friends easily. And so, she thinks, oh, well, you know, if I write in my excellent, wonderful diary, I should be good to go, and I'll get all of my feelings out, and I won't need to talk to anybody about it. And then, of course, her diary is a imprint of Voldemort. I mean, honestly, like, how awful could you really have had a worst first year? I don't think so. And I feel so bad for her. And I'm glad that Dumbledore is wise and not an asshole. Well, I do think Dumbledore is an asshole, but not until much later. We'll get to that. Stick around for the other videos. But in this moment, he's not an asshole. I feel like he is genuinely trying to help as much as he can, and he knows that Jenny was tricked. I feel like some other headmasters would not have cared that she was tricked, or honestly believed that she was tricked. That's one of Dumbledore's best qualities, in my opinion, is that he knows that Voldemort is out there and is biding his time to come back. And I think because he knows that, he's willing to believe more obscure stories. Or honestly, probably maybe just because he's smarter than the average human. He knows, or the average wizard. He knows that weird things can happen in the wizarding world, and then Voldemort is super powerful. So he's able to believe it. I'm supposed to be mixing all of this together for the drizzle. And it said mix together until drizzle worthy. Actually, I don't think those were the right. It says drizzle consistency. But having never baked before, I don't really know what that is supposed to look like. But I think I can just keep adding hot water if it doesn't turn out okay. One of the things I dislike about fantasy series is their use of giant spiders. I know we're skipping quite a bit in the book, but it just came to my mind. I was thinking about things I dislike. One of the things I dislike in this series and so many other fantasy series is the idea that we have to have giant spiders. I don't understand why. What do they do for us? Nothing. They're just giant spiders. I guess I should probably say that I don't like spiders, as many people don't, and I know they're great for the environment, and they take care of a lot of stuff, and I appreciate that. I appreciate what they do. I just don't really like them. I don't like the look of them. I don't want them in my house, and I feel like that's a fair assessment. But I just feel like every big fantasy series, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, even The Mandalorian in season 2 had an episode with things that were similar to giant spiders. Why? I don't understand. But in any case, we do have to deal with the giant spiders, and I am not ever pleased about it. Fun fact, I was lucky enough to take a trip to London after I graduated college, and one of the things we did, of course, was go out to the studios where Harry Potter was filmed and take the tour that you can take there. And I just want you all to know that the giant spider, Aragog, was an animatronic, and it is hanging in their creature room. And by hanging, I mean it's like on the wall, like it crawled up there, and it is a very creepy experience. Truly very creepy. Ooh, I think our cookies are almost done. I think they should probably come out. They're kind of burnt-ish around the edge, but I don't think they're baked in the middle. Okay, well, we're gonna leave them there for a minute, and I don't want them to bake anymore, but at the same, like on the bottom, but at the same time, I don't want them, I can't get them off. I mean, if I try to scoop them, they're just gonna fall apart right now, I think. I do think I was supposed to line these with something, and I didn't, and that could be a problem. I also am gonna have to figure out how to makeshift my own piping bag for this drizzle that I made. I don't own piping bags, but I've watched baking shows. I think I can make one. What I'm thinking is if I put it in a plastic baggie and then cut the tip off, that should work, right? I think I was supposed to squish them down a little before I put them in. So maybe if I do smaller scoops and smush them down a little, they'll get a more well-rounded cookie instead of the monstrosity that just came out of the oven. I honestly, like, you don't even want to see those. They're super ugly. This could be the first time, and I'm sure not the last time, but it could be the first time that something does not come out well on this channel. Back to the book, I do think it's a testament to Harry's personality and his friendship with Hagrid that when Hagrid gets accused of being able to open the Chamber of Secrets for the second time, he and Ron are still willing to help. And they really have only been friends with Hagrid for about a year. So I think it would have been really easy for them to turn away and to believe Tom Riddle that Hagrid was the one who was doing it and he was hurting everybody. But they don't. And I think that that is a really big testament to their friendship, as well as Harry's personality, that he's very loyal. I think Harry has a lot of Hufflepuff in him. By the way, this is a quick side note. I would love to know what houses people are. I'm a Slytherin. And I know. I don't want to hear it, okay? I don't want to hear it. But I would love to know what houses you are. Side note, you can comment below. But I do think that Harry has some definite Hufflepuff qualities, and I think his loyalty and his strength of friendship is definitely one of those. I also find Tom Riddle just to not really be a very reliable character. Like, I don't know why anybody would trust him. He's kind of sleazy. But maybe that's just because I knew he was going to be Voldemort. But I didn't when I first read this. However, I was really young. So between the flip back and forth, I do think Tom Riddle is sleazy. And I don't think that anybody should trust him. Okay, for this next batch going in, I tried to flatten them a little bit more so that hopefully they'll get a well-rounded bake instead of maybe if they're too puffy on the top, it just doesn't bake in the middle. I went ahead and brought this batch out because I can see it getting burnt around the edges again. These are definitely not the cute little cookies they are in the pictures, but no surprise there. On a random note about the book, I love/hate Gilderoy Lockhart. Like, I just think he's such an interesting character. That this man who's so self-absorbed, and what was Dumbledore thinking? And he was like, yeah, he can do this job. Obviously, nobody else wants to teach Defense Against the Dark Arts because it's clearly cursed. I get that. But what makes you think, yeah, this very self-absorbed man is going to teach these kids what they need to know? I just feel like Dumbledore wasn't really using a whole lot of sense on that one. But, you know, if he's the only applicant for the job, what are you gonna do? My cookies keep flipping over on me when I'm trying to put them on the things. I'm just trying to nicely put them on the paper towels, and they refuse. I'm not really sure what I did wrong with these ones, but it can't possibly just be the way that I'm baking it. Like, I'm thinking that there has to be another reason why these are not going well. I mean, I thought that I followed the instructions, but I'm starting to feel like I didn't. All right, I will let you take a look at this disaster. This is truly the nicest one, because it is still in the form of a cookie. The rest of them are flipping and breaking on me, so I don't even know what to do with those. Maybe I'll have a plate of nice cookies and a plate of these don't need the drizzle cookies, which at this point is gonna be all of them. Okay, I know these don't have the drizzle yet, but I'm gonna taste this one. Not the pretty one, I grabbed another one. I'm gonna taste this one and see how it did. I mean, they taste fine. I don't know, guys. I don't know. But if they're edible, that's what counts, right? I mean, we're not going for best in show or anything. Maybe I just need to take them out earlier. Like, these are clearly not all the way baked, but I'm maybe hoping if I take them out earlier, they won't get that terrible ring of burnt on all around them. One of the other things that I love about this book is that Ron gets to kind of be a little bit more of the hero. I feel like we don't get to see that too much in the first one, and so this one I feel like Ron really has to step up and help as much as he can because Hermione gets petrified. So she's not there to help. And obviously Hermione does help in her own way, but really Ron gets to be the biggest helper. Harry always does everything on his own at the end of the day. I mean, not everything, but you know what I mean? Like, he does the big thing on his own usually. And it just kind of flips back and forth whether it's Ron and Hermione there to help him or somebody else. But I think it's cool that Ron gets to be put more in the spotlight on this one. All right, well, the cookies are not going well. I feel like it has to be an ingredient. Like, I feel like maybe I put too much of something or not enough of something. I feel like it just has to be. I don't know. They're falling apart. Like, they're not getting baked all the way around. And so they're just a hot mess all the time. I don't know how to fix that. But thankfully, I am not that worried about it. You know, if they're edible, that's what matters. Usually I like to give some of these to my coworkers because I don't want all of these baked treats in our house. But I don't think my coworkers will be getting any of these because they are quite ugly. I feel like I need to try the glaze, so I think that's what we're gonna do next. But overall, I really do love this book. I feel like it's a good sequel to the series, and I think that the characters get the chance to expand a little bit more. And of course, Harry gets the chance to fight off Voldemort again. It's always fun. I mean, everybody loves that. All right, if you left because you didn't want any spoilers, please feel free to join us again. This is spoiler free. To catch you up, things are not going well with these cookies. Something is wrong and I don't know what it is, but I am attempting to make my own icing bag. We're gonna see if it works. Okay, I feel like this hole in my icing bag is way too big, but let's see. Oh, yes, it is. Oh no, this did not go well at all. I'll show you in a minute. Okay, well, I think my glaze has the right consistency maybe, but I also think maybe it doesn't. And it clearly, the hole is way too big because it just all spurted. But this is what we're working with. This guy right here is maybe our savior. I'm not sure, but he's definitely the most attractive out of all of them. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up because this is not going well and I need to take control of my kitchen. I love this book as a sequel because you build more on the world, you build more on the characters, you get the mystery element, and it sets you up really nicely going forward. I highly recommend reading this book. And as I've said before, shop local, see if you can find it at your local bookshop, or rent from your library. If you're not looking to buy, that's totally fine too. My cookies are not attractive, so I am not going to show them again. We'll see what happens. But if you've had fun today, please hit that subscribe button. And of course, I would love to know your comments. Please let me know what I did wrong on my oatmeal cookies. If you know, if you have an idea of what maybe happened, I would love to know because I'm stumped. But there has to be a first time for everything. And for the first time, these just went terribly wrong. I would also love your thoughts on the book. If you've already read it, let me know what you guys thought and let me know what you think that I might have left out. Also, would love to know your Hogwarts house. Once you're in the world, figure out your Hogwarts house and let it become part of your personality just like the rest of us. But I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I hope that your whole week is better than what these cookies turned out to be. And I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today, and I'll see you guys next time.